My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 277. Our guest today on the podcast is Eliott in support of her brilliant debut record, Just Calling to Tell You I'm Okay. The Melbourne-based songwriter's record comes out later this week and we were lucky enough to chat with her before one of her album launch rehearsals. Before we dive into our conversation with Eliott, please make sure you subscribe to this podcast on whatever app you find good podcasts on and ensure you're following us across all of our social media channels. Details for all can be found within the show notes of today's episode. Our guest today is Eliott. The Melbourne-based singer and songwriter is known for her beautifully written pop songs that share both introspective lyrics and absolutely soaring vocals from the 26-year-old. Having released music since 2017, Eliott has gone from strength to strength within the Australian music scene, having toured with the likes of Matt Corby and releasing acclaimed singles like Home during the pandemic. Later this week, she releases her incredible debut record, which is called Just Calling to Tell You I'm Okay. It's a gorgeous collection of songs that sees the vocalist collaborating with artists like Vancouver Sleep Clinic and Gab Strum, who some of you might know as Japanese Wallpaper. In today's episode, we talk about how Eliott managed to write a bulk of the album while overseas and not intentionally trying to kind of write music. We discuss our shared love of Gab Strum and the brilliant work that he does. And we also discuss the album launch shows which she has planned for this month and what the rest of the year holds for Eliott. Just Calling to Tell You I'm Okay is out this Friday and we've left links within the show notes so you can go ahead and purchase the record. We also want to say a massive thank you to Marie at Island Records Australia for her help with this episode. Here is our conversation with Eliott.
'Cause I needed you for the longest time, and it broke my heart, trying to get it right, and I'm trying so hard, but
Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Eliott. Hello, how are we?
I'm good. How are you going?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking and thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
I know that it's an extremely busy time for you at the moment. I know that there's lots of rehearsals going on. There's lots of press being done because there is a debut record coming out from yourself, Just Calling to Tell You I'm Okay, which is out this week. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. It feels pretty crazy to finally have it coming out into the world. So I'm excited.
Of course, and as you should be. This is a fantastic record.
Thank you.
Of course, it is, as you've mentioned, the debut record. How are you? I'm sure that there's a what is the word? There's a flurry of emotions kind of going on at the moment. Is there? Yeah. I guess what is going through your head at this time? Because it's a big deal. Because this is a beautiful record that you're now putting out into the world. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's always been, it's kind of this thing where I feel like I'm finally ready to let the person that wrote those songs go, because I feel like I've evolved and I've grown so much since I wrote the record. And I feel like I can, in some way, kind of part ways with that person in a good way. And I mean, there's a lot of bits and pieces going on, and I feel like it's a super stressful time, but I'm very relieved that I finally get to show the rest of the world what I've kind of put my whole heart into over the last couple of years.
100%. This record, as I mentioned, it is gorgeous. There's a number of tracks, to my understanding, that I think might even date back to 2018, and then a few that were written in 2020. So I imagine that it is maybe somewhat cathartic to be able to let these songs go.
Yeah, it's super cathartic. And even like with those songs, like there's a couple on there that, were written 2018, 2019, only a few. And I've since rewritten some of the verses in those. And I feel like I've been able to go back to them and I guess touch on them with new perspective as well, which is kind of cool.
I did read somewhere, I think, that a chunk of the songs that were written in 2020 that you weren't kind of actively going to go and songwrite, that you actually just took some time away for yourself, and that's when it actually turned out to be the best time for it.
Yeah, I think it was that thing of like there was no pressure for me to create anything. There was no deadline, no one telling me really what to do. So I spent it was 2020, the first 2 months of 2020, I was over in Paris. And I think for the most part of it, I just felt super inspired again after a long time of not really loving music or loving writing or performing. And then, I kind of had that big burst of energy, and then the world shut down. So that was kind of nice little reminder.
I'd love to know, I guess, just in terms of maybe the surroundings of where you were. We've spoken to a number of musicians and lyricists on this podcast about how that's affected them. Do you think that there's a certain Parisian lilt to any of the songs that have kind of come from those sessions?
I mean, I was working with Jack Grace a lot there, he worked on my first EP, and I feel like we, as in a collaborative sense, we just have such a good relationship now, and we've known each other for so many years now in the industry. I think I just feel super safe writing with him and sharing ideas. But I definitely do feel like when I'm writing, I need to put myself into a new environment or a new place, I guess, to like reflect on the things that are going on in my own personal life back at home. I don't think I've ever just written a song when I'm like doing the groceries or like paying bills or like, doing everyday stuff. I feel like I need to explore, and I'm just very curious, and I just want to see things and feel things. And I feel like that, when I'm put in those new places, just every time I'll feel inspired.
That's awesome. I love that. Do you remember your first attempts at songwriting and trying to get lyrics and I guess melody down?
Yeah, I was probably like 13. My dad used to like film me and put me on YouTube, and the songs were so bad. But I definitely, from a young age, I've always kind of tried my best, but I don't think I really took it seriously until I was probably like 19, 20.
Firstly, I feel like everyone has to start somewhere. So like every songwriter we've spoken to has one or two in hidden away in a box that they don't speak about, which is
so
fair.
many. Yeah.
But I guess the other part of that is, as you mentioned, when you did turn 19 or 20 and started to realize that there was a lot more to it, do you remember a turning point for yourself in when you realized?
Yeah.
I don't think it's arrogant to say you realized that you were good at it, but that you realized that there was quality in what you were doing.
To be honest, at 19, I probably didn't think I was good at it. I think that's definitely a kind of...
Hey, it's Sharon, and here's where it gets interesting. Raise your hand if you want salon perfect nails for just $2 a manicure. Yeah, me too. With the Olive & June Mani system, you can say goodbye to expensive services that take hours and hours and love your nails more than ever. I would know. I've been doing it for years. Get 20% off your first Mani system with code PERFECTMANI20 at oliveandjune.com/PERFECTMANI20. That's PERFECTMANI20 at oliveandjune.com/PERFECTMANI20.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
A thing that's taken me a long time to turn around and go, oh, hey, like I'm actually good at this and I should trust my gut. But I definitely think the moment when I started working with Jack, and I think he said to me like, oh, you know, like you're a great writer. And up until that point, I honestly didn't believe it myself. It took me a long time to feel like I guess belonged in the music industry. I've have gnarly imposter syndrome. So I'm constantly have to remind myself, it's you deserve to be here. You're fine.
Well, if this album is any indication, I would say that it is 1000% true. You do deserve to be here, and there's not to be any doubt of that. There's a beautiful duet on this record. It features the lovely Tim from Vancouver Sleep Clinic.
Yes.
On the record. How did that collaboration come about?
So that collaboration, it's funny because I've actually never met Tim. We were I wrote that song. That was kind of one of the older songs that I'd written with my friend Nick Ackroff. And I kind of just kept that song. It was one of those ones where I knew it had a place in the world, but I wasn't really sure where. And then when we were putting the record together, it made so much sense. And then I think me and Gab were chatting about maybe doing a duet. So yeah, we just reached out to Tim, and I think he got back the verse within 24 hours, and we're like, yep, this is perfect. Because it was kind of in that lockdown when Melbourne was in the really heavy lockdown. So yeah.
I love that. It is a gorgeous track. I know you just mentioned you worked with Gab on the record as well. For anyone who is not aware of Mr. Gab Strum and the work that
they should be.
They should be, exactly. I think it's one of those things. Gab's work is almost, they say that they don't know the name, but I think they'd recognize the work. You've got artists like yourself, Tyne James Organ, Greta Ray, Mallrat, the list goes on and on and on. What was that kind of working relationship with Gab like?
I to me, he's one of the best producers, songwriters in the world. I can't speak highly enough of that man. He's a genius. But I feel like our relationship, it was so nice because I had all these songs that meant so much to me. And I think he really understood that. And he took so much detail in everything he did to ensure that that's how I wanted it to sound, or, there was just so much care and love behind what he was doing. I feel like he really cared about the project and about me. So, yeah.
I love that, and I love to hear that. It's obviously, a very nice thing to hear when someone is that kind of, not gracious, but I guess the word that you use, caring in the way that they go about their work.
Yeah. Every detail is just like so thought after, and he's lovely and great.
We will, outside of this podcast, we'll start our own Gab Strum fan club, but that is not why we're here.
I keep telling everybody, all these interviews I'm doing, I'm like, Gab, he's a genius. You got to.
When it comes to having someone produce the record and work with you on these songs, because some of them are quite personal, I know, and we don't necessarily have to go into the specifics of it, but I think that a number of people know the single For Ollie, which is quite a personal track. I'm curious how you find a good balance of opening up in the studio and being able to work on these songs, but obviously not opening up too much to be able to, I guess, reopen any personal scars or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like if I'm in a session or speaking about something that's hard to talk about, the best way I can do it is in a song. I feel like I'm pretty closed off otherwise. But give me a melody and a lyric, and I'll get it out to you. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just that thing of feeling comfortable with who you're in the room with as well. And I think Gab just made me feel like I could talk about anything and like just super safe and like no judgment anywhere. And I think like it definitely, like for instance, for Ollie song, that actually brought back a lot of the good memories for me. And it made me reflect on a friendship that I had, and kind of cherish it a bit more. So yeah.
I think love that. Yeah. If I'm allowed to, I'd love to be a little bit selfish and ask about my favorite track on the record. It came a little bit later on in the track listing. It is called Energy, and
cool.
Yes, I want to say it's almost like the rockiest that the record got with the kind of guitars. Where did that song come from, or what was the kind of inspiration behind that track?
So that song I actually wrote with Angie McMahon and Dylan Nash, and you can kind of hear Angie's like, I think we used her guitar on it, and you can definitely hear that in the chorus. And that kind of song, I guess it was written about like this constant need to be on our phones and comparing ourselves to others all of the time. I just got to a point where it was like sucking the life out of me, and I felt like I had no energy left. So yeah, I love that song so much. And Angie's such a great writer. Like, I think, that session, we just sat around and like chatted for ages, and she was just on her notes. Like, it's great.
It is a fantastic track. So thank you for sharing that kind of behind the scenes with me.
Yeah, that's okay.
I know we've got 2 shows this week in support of the record, I believe. Oh, sorry, not this week, but this month. There are some launch shows for the record. How are you feeling about taking these songs to a live setting and being able to finally play them to people?
I'm so excited. I'm actually at a rehearsal tonight. So I've got the band with me, and I feel like one of my biggest joys in life is to perform live. And I think like bringing these songs to life is going to be really special.
Have you got, probably a bit of an unfair question, is there one track in particular you're looking forward to debuting live off the record?
Probably Energy. I feel like there's so much, for better word, energy in the song. And I'm really excited to just like play the electric guitar and rock out a bit.
Well, we happen to be in Melbourne, I think, around the time of the show, so we will be there. I look forward to seeing how energy goes.
Yes, absolutely.
Eliott, we would usually ask our guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything at the moment that is on high rotation for yourself?
Oh, I have been absolutely smashing the Ryan Beatty record, which is so good for anyone that wants a new listen.
I was very late to that party. I think it was out already for a few months, but it's just gorgeous, that EP.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And The Boy Genius, like so many good records at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Eliott, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations on Just Calling to Tell You I'm Okay. It is out later this week. We'll make sure it's all in the show notes so people can buy the record. They can buy tickets to your shows. But again, thank you very much for coming on.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Never sleep hot again with Bowl and Branch's best-selling naturally cooling sheets. They feel super crisp and cool to the touch and are expertly designed for enhanced breathability so you don't overheat at night. Start getting your best night's sleep this summer with cooling sheets made with the highest quality materials. Try Bowl and Branch with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com with code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.